Okay, folks, hello, happy Tuesday. Hey, so, we are videotaping. Shh. Hello. We're videotaping for the DECA kids.
Hello, DECA kids.
So the DECA kids, we say hello. Can somebody make sure that I'm not filming like that I'm on there? Okay, we're good to go? Okay, now that... Because it's such a great thing to look at when I have such a terrible head cold. But yeah, so today is quiz day on chapter 8. I think, right? Chapter 8 is this week's chapter?
Yeah.
I hear you guys did a great job yesterday talking about all the revolutions and stuff. But let's take just a quick moment to make sure that we are all on the same page with what's going on. So, what do we have any questions about stuff that was covered yesterday? Does anybody see my textbook anywhere?
How did he kill Abraham Lincoln and then go back in time?
Isn't that just a miracle of God? Just the question was asked because they can't hear you guys, so I'm going to be restating a lot. How did John Wilkes kill Abraham Lincoln and then go back in time? And we're just saying that he's a miracle man of God, and we're not really sure how it happened, but it did, and it was awesome. I know where my textbook is. It's at home.
Do you want one?
There's several up there. Yeah. What did John Wilkes do? What did this John Wilkes do? Not John Wilkes Booth. Thank you, sir.
Protesting a treaty in print, and then he got like the parliament, and the king was like, nah.
So, okay, no, he's not American. John Wilkes Booth was American. This John Wilkes, not American. So, yes. You should know more what the battles were, what they did. I don't think you need to know exact years. More range of years is better. Yes.
Do we only know John Wilkes Booth as John Wilkes Booth to differentiate from this other John Wilkes?
Yes, John Wilkes Booth is John Wilkes Booth.
So but we wouldn't care about the Booth if there wasn't this other John Wilkes?
I don't know. I don't know why he's John Wilkes Booth and I'm not like Janie Marie Vosters. Why am I not all three of my name?
Matt Day.
What?
You say Matt Day, you don't just say Matt. So maybe it's one of those names where people are like,
Maybe it is. You also don't say like King. You say Martin Luther King. You know, but we say Luther and we know who we're talking about, but you would never just say Martin because then we'd be like, well, Martin who? Martin the Martian. Could be that guy. That's the guy from Bugs Bunny. Okay, because I didn't teach it yesterday, I'm not exactly 125% up on where we're looking at. Okay, John Wilkes here. The colonial questioning of the tax-levying authority of the House of Commons was related to the protest of John Wilkes. Both the colonists and Wilkes challenged the power of the monarch and the authority of Parliament. Moreover, both the colonial leaders and Wilkes appealed to over the head of legally constituted political authorities to popular opinion and popular demonstrations. Both protested the power of a largely self-selected aristocratic political body. Wilkes was arrested in 1763 for seditious libel. He's speaking out against the government. He was just a radical, and he was not. So what Wilkes was about was he didn't want the government of Britain to be doing all that it did, not because he was like all pro-America, pro-colonies, but he was just anti what the government was doing. He's like, this is just kind of a dumb thing to do. Wilkes strongly criticized Earl Butte's handling of peace negotiations, and he was just anti-government. And so they said that issue number 45 of the North Briton, which was his newspaper, was seditious libel, which means you're speaking out against the government to make the government look bad, and also saying things that are not true. That's what libel is, saying something that isn't true and saying it's fact. And when you publish it in a newspaper, then you're like taking it above and beyond of me just saying it, but I'm publishing it so it's there for all time and eternity. So But people liked him. People who didn't like George III, and there were a lot of them, they were maybe not so pro-radical that Wilkes was, but they saw where Wilkes was going. And so they're like, yeah, he's really not the best king. He's not handling this well. He's too separated from the people. The whole idea of taxation without representation made sense to them. He's like, you can't put this on the people and expect them to be okay with it. So, he was followed by many of the American colonists who were not pro-government and were pro-liberty instead. So he was kind of a poster child of sorts for this in Britain, not in the colonies.
Remember, he ran for Parliament too, and Parliament refused to seat him. And he was the Lord Mayor. Remember, we couldn't figure out what Lord meant?
Yeah.
So he was the mayor of London, and that's when they decided to seat him.
Yep. Lord Mayor is just like a nice gentlemanly title, not because he's the Lord, but he's Lord Mayor. So he's like Lord. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Wilkes, Lord Wilkes, Lord Mayor. So, yeah, that's that. Other questions? Yes. Okay, mercantilism. Are you questioning like what is mercantilism? Okay, mercantilism is whoever gets the goods gets the wealth, and it's a zero-sum game. You either have it or you don't. And so this is what, when we were expanding out of the first exploration period of exploration, like putting the feelers out there, is the world round or is it flat? Are we going to fall off the edge tonight or not? Then we get into setting up the trade colonies and the trading partners. And so it's whoever gets the most goods is the best. And that's what we're running for here. Other questions? Anything? Yes.
How was yesterday for you?
Oh, fine. Nothing overly exciting going, but we made it and we did it and discussed what we needed to, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
So with the wars, basically just England versus France, and just continuously back.
Yeah. England versus France, and then eventually England versus colonies, colonies versus owners, if you want to go broader. Well, I think you need to understand overall, like, again, looking at, we got to look at Prussia versus Austria. They're coming back. Oh, also, if we had a time for a field trip, we'd be going to the Minneapolis Museum of Art. They are having a whole exhibit on the Habsburgs.
How long is there?
Through late spring, I think.
I'm going there next weekend. Not like 5 days from now, but like 2 weeks.
Like 2 weeks. Yeah.
I'm going on to like college overnight.
Yeah.
I'm going to college out there.
It looks like an awesome exhibit. Like, as much as we're like, the Habsburgs, let them die. They've one of the later Habsburgs at the creation of Austria-Hungary made an Austrian museum, and a lot of the exhibits, like the original stuff of the Habsburgs, were brought over to the Twin Cities and set up in a beautiful exhibit from the beginning of like the Golden Bull type time all the way through Charles V and into Maria Theresa and then Franz Joseph in World War I. So I would love to be able to go, but I don't think we'd be able to do it because budgeting we can't budget for the bus and everything else. So, but it would be a great full day, like leave early and come back late and spend some time in the Twin Cities and go to the Habsburg Museum. And
Taking a Twins game, because they'll be playing by then.
they would be playing by then, only if they're playing the Brewers, because I don't really care. The Twins suck or the Brewers suck? Of course they do to you, Bailey, but we're pro Brewers. Brewers are good. So, pretty sure, yeah. So, but yes, the Habsburg War, we have to remember that one too, though. The idea of the diplomatic revolution, or no, that's not it. Sorry, wrong war. No, that is the War of Austrian Succession.
Yeah.
Habsburg versus Hohenzollerns. Who's going to rule this? Frederick II versus Maria Theresa. Two huge figureheads of Central Europe going up against each other. How does it end up? They both kind of win in the end. Maria Theresa gets to keep her title because remember, she's the girl. She's not supposed to have the title. And this was after the Pragmatic Sanction. She was supposed to keep it, but Frederick II said, no, we don't really like this idea. And so they go off to war. Okay, so she gets to keep the title and she gets Silesia back? Or he keeps Silesia. She gets the empire status. Yeah, but she loses that chunk of land. Silesia. I think it is. That's how I've always pronounced it.
I was trying to pronounce it to my mom. She's like, Sicily? I'm like, Mom, do you think I would really mess up Sicily?
No, not Sicily. I think it's Silesia. And it's a small little chunk of land, Silesia is, but it's very hungry. It's very rich in coal mines and other resources. So it's worth having. Yes.
With that, does that involve the whatever thing with England and Spain and how they can make trades?
Yes, it flipped the world on its head because alliances that had lasted for over 100 years are now gone and they're flipped. So this is and we're setting us up for World War I here. We're restructuring Europe and who floats where and who's with where, and not just World War I, but Napoleon's going to show up on the scene in the next unit, and he's going to flip some alliances on his head too because he's such a great military strategist. So, yes.
Who is Frederick scared of again for attacking him after like diplomatic thing, like when they start forming the alliances?
Frederick is afraid of France against a conspiracy by Saxony, Austria, and France to destroy Prussian power.
He was afraid of France because he was afraid of France.
Well, he was afraid that they were going to come in and strip him of his power because he's fully in there because he's the fourth in the line of the four Fredericks, but he's not really he's the leader of Prussia, but Prussia isn't like Austria or like Britain or like France where it's its own country. It's this region-ish. And so he wants to make sure that he cements himself.
There was no
Yep.
threat.
Right. He's the one that used the army. His dad built it, he used it.
Yep.
So, anything else? Any other questions before we get started?
Okay, the West Indies are like the Caribbean.
Caribbean. West Indies are Caribbean. East Indies is Philippines, Indonesia area.
Okay.
I know. We could label it. I will happily take my Sharpie marker to the wall and say West Indies versus East Indies. Yes.
We could label like here is Prussia, here's Silesia. All these like dumb little areas.
Like make a little.
But they're not actually defined on a map.
Or what we could do is we could make a over map, like, and tape it over. Like this is okay when we're in AP Euro. This is where I would have to spend like the rest of my days making like maps. Like okay, this is what it looks like now. But then we get the 7 Years' War, and boom, now here's what it looks like.
When does Prussia like go away?
When does Prussia go away? With the reunification of Germany in 1871. Otto von Bismarck.
Is that Weimar?
No, Weimar is post World War I.
It does. It's right above
Yep.
Mongolia in Kazakhstan,
What is?
Russia.
where it says Russia on Russia.
Yes, that's all Russia.
Yeah,
Everything blue.
They didn't think Russia had a name on it.
Oh no, it's just hard to see. It's labeled, but some people just call it that big ocean up there. I'm like, yep, because that's what it is. Yeah, yeah, like the floating Great Lakes. Okay, any other questions before we get this started? Okay, let's roll. So we'll take this quiz like we always do. We're going to turn you ladies off for now because you don't need to just sit around and listen to people take quizzes. Goodbye.